Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Inside RCR. Today we're going to cover a classic weekend we saw at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Plus, Richard Childress got back behind the wheel of a race car. Yeah, that's right. So we're going to cover that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and let's get started. Before we dive into last night's race at North Wilkesboro Speedway, the very first points race at the historic racetrack since 1996 for the Cup Series, on Friday night up in Connecticut at Stafford Speedway during the Cletus McFarland New England Freedom 900 or whatever it was called, the Crown Vic race, which legendary car owner, obviously what this whole podcast is about, RCR, Richard Childress, was back behind the wheel of one of those cars. And he ended up finishing 10th, which was really cool to see. I didn't get to watch any of the race because I didn't have the streaming service that provided it. But I did get to see a lot of the cool stuff that was on social media. Him in the fire suit was just badass. I mean, that was really cool. I mean, Richard's my hero, and to see him back in the fire suit out there driving a race car was really cool. And just kind of the other footage I saw of him in the car and coming down pit road and them asking him, how's it going? And he couldn't hear what they had to say. And it was just typical Richard, and it was just cool to see that. And it was also cool to see that he got to race against Ty. I know Ty is going to really cherish that moment to be able to race against his grandfather, and that was really cool to see. And then Danny Stockman was out there as well. Downforce Danny was putting him on the dash, as he says. So that was just really cool. He had the racing background. He drove back in the day before he kind of dabbled into becoming a crew chief. So it was just really neat to see. I wish maybe there is a replay of the race on YouTube or something. Can't wait to see what Cletus posts. I know he'll probably post a video here soon about it. So I'm really excited to see the footage from New England. But what do you guys think of Richard out there? Did you think that he did a really good job as for an 80-year-old man? Let me know in the comments. So jumping to the Cup Series on Saturday, they had practice and qualifying on what was supposed to be qualifying. It ended up getting rained out, and they were setting the field by the metric system, which was kind of a good thing for Austin Dillon. He had a great finish at Atlanta, which led into North Wilkesboro for him to start in the top 15. He started 12th, and then, it was kind of a bad situation for Austin Hill with the bad finish he had at Atlanta. He had to start in the very back in 33rd. But on Saturday during practice, I really felt like both RCR cars had a ton of speed. I know that Austin Hill was kind of struggling a little bit with his car, but he still had really decent pace in his car during practice. And then Austin Dillon, there was a few things that he was battling in practice, but he felt really confident in his car for the race on Sunday. The team was really excited. They said that his lap times looked really, really good during the practice session. So it kind of got me super excited for last night's race. Jumping into the race, the first part of the race, the first half, I would say for Austin Dillon was great. They had a really good run. They was up there in the top 15 most of the day. I think he even got up into the top 10 a little bit, and he kind of faded there in stage one, but just was kind of having a decent day. And it kind of reminded me of a little bit of like a Richmond for him. Just the way he was running his line. He was really kind of one-dimensional. I kind of made that known in one of my tweets last night during the race, where he was just kind of stuck on the bottom. He did eventually start moving up and was kind of holding his own and was doing a really good job. But unfortunately for him, the stage caution, or not the stage caution, but there was a caution during the green flag cycle. They had just pitted, and the caution came out, and it caught them 2 laps down, I believe, and that kind of killed their night, killed their really good finish, or the possibility of them getting a really good finish. And it was just kind of hard to kind of rally back from that. They did do a really good job there, I think, at the end of stage 2, where they kind of, with the group that they were racing in, he was like second in that group. Austin Cindric was the other guy that was ahead of him. But they were the ones that were kind of up there towards the top 10 that kind of got trapped a lap down. He was kind of the second best of those guys during that run in stage 2. But unfortunately, they just couldn't get the track position back. They tried to run long there at the end, and it kind of just didn't work out. They were kind of hoping for a caution, and it just never came. On the flip side, for the 33, they just struggled all night. Just Austin Austin Hill reported that he was extremely tight most of the night. Then he started having trouble with his pool suit, and it just kind of it went downhill from there. And they could never rally out of 25th place. I think that's probably the highest they got, and which is unfortunate. I know he's still learning a lot in these next gen cars, and he's just hopefully they can get some momentum going. I know his spotter at one point during the race towards the end was like, man, we can't buy luck if we could buy, we can't buy luck. It's not possible. They always had the worst luck. So um, hopefully they can get things turned around at Indy next weekend, and hopefully, I mean, I know the finish wasn't what Austin and Boswell and them wanted, but hopefully they can carry the momentum that they had this weekend at North Wilkesboro, tongue twister, and can carry that into Indy next week. Another thing about the race last night, I thought it was really, really a really good race for a short track with the next gen car. I thought that North Wilkesboro put on a great show. I know a lot of people on social media are complaining about how there was only 6 cars on the lead lap at the end of the race. But that's how it was back in the 90s. At least that's what I've been told. I was born in the 90s, so I don't really remember uh, that far back. But it's kind of a classic race. But if you really look at it, there would have still been a lot of guys going a lap down at the end of that race. But the main reason why there was only 6 was that caution in stage 2 or whatever stage it was in during that green flag pit cycle is what kind of caused a lot of good cars to go a lap down. And if you look at the running order, I looked at it today. Um, in my opinion, Joey Logano lapped Ryan Blaney. He got him 2 laps down. I think that would have been the highest that he would have lapped uh, if that caution never happened. I think 11th would have been the last car 1 lap down, or if that caution never happened. But like I said, I know a lot of people were complaining, but I really thought the racing was good. There was action all over the place. The spotters I was listening to, Derek and Banesh, they were always just saying in the middle 3 wide or on the bottom 3 wide, top 3 wide, just a lot of action. And I thought the TV coverage couldn't show it all. There was so much action going on, but I'm excited. I want to go to North Wilkesboro next year. I thought that was a great race. It was packed. It was awesome to see how packed it was. It was much better as a points race than the All-Star race, in my opinion. So much better. I mean, maybe it was a little bit too long, maybe 50 laps too long. But even with that, it was still a great race. I enjoyed it, and I was especially in stage 1. Like, I think what also helped this race be really good is the fact that qualifying got rained out, and we had to set the field by the metric. And it had fast guys starting in the back, and they had to come to the front. Like in stage 1, SVG and Ty Gibbs battling for the stage win. That was exciting stuff, man. I enjoyed that, and I try to keep my eyes always on what RCR is doing. But when I get a chance to kind of just sit back and watch the whole race, it's last night's race was really good. And I can't wait for next year's race there. I hope it's just as good. I think the only thing that would have made this race better is if it was with the O'Reilly Series car. If it was with the O'Reilly Series car, this race would have been freaking awesome. But because this next gen car just kind of, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought of last night's race in the comments. Well, that's going to be it for this week's episode of Inside RCR. I thank you guys for continuing to watch and continue to be a part of what I'm trying to do with this channel and with Inside RCR, and just trying to build this. Hopefully, I have a lot of plans that I want to do with this podcast and with this platform that I have. pertaining to RCR and stuff like that. I have something cool coming in the next week or two, so keep an eye out for that. I just got to finish it this weekend. That's one thing, just trying to juggle everything. But I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to bring you quality episodes that you guys can listen to and learn a little bit. I know there's some things that I need to work on, and I'm doing my best to get there. And I appreciate you all for the support, all the followers on X, and the ones that follow my race, my in race posts that I make during the race, and my race predictions I make, even though they're always wrong. But I just want to thank you guys. I wanted to kind of put this in the show today, since there wasn't much to talk about. That I appreciate you guys, and I hope to one day have interviews on this show with not just people in the sport, but you the fans as well. I want fans of RCR to be a part of this show, and once I get that figured out, I'll be getting in touch with some of you guys out there. Some of you guys I've already got in touch with. So, like I said, just thank you guys for all the support, and thank you guys for watching.